Yep, I'm running a little late this morning. I didn't go live. I didn't hit the live button. Sorry, everyone. It's morning time. So I'm trying something new this morning. I am going to treat this like I would a video. I'm going to wait to see if a couple of people show up. If nobody shows up this morning, I'll talk about the topic regardless, because we all know that YouTube goes ahead and saves my lives like a video, anyways. But I would be really excited if people show up and we can have a discussion about the topic at hand. So I'm looking forward to hopefully having some people show up here today. Surprise! It's a new concept. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll just wait a few more minutes and see if anyone shows up, and then we'll talk about the topic. Today's topic: how to keep our hearts tender in a world that's not tender, not so tender. I don't know if anyone's interested in the topic or not this morning, or if anyone's even around this morning. Let's see. Let's see, we're at 11:31. I came on at 11:28, so about almost 3 minutes in. I'll give it till about 5 minutes in, and we'll see if anyone is here. How about I pull an angel card and we'll see what the angels have to say this morning for everyone. The Archangel Oracle cards, I love them. They're a good way to start our mornings. I usually start mine off with, my mornings off with Archangel cards. I find them a happy way to start my day. Find out what the angels want me to know. Let's see what the angels want everybody to know. Whoop. Boy, that was quick. I can find it. Hold on, give me a minute. There it is. Ooh, this is a good one for everyone this morning. So the archangels are saying to everyone, this is from Archangel Raphael, healthy lifestyle. Archangel Raphael says to everyone, eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, and exercise regularly for optimal health. And optimal health is not just physical health, but it's also mental health that affects everything. And if you notice, he's holding the caduceus, which is the sign of health. That's really important. It's a good card to have. I wish I had a little card stand I could hold these up for you guys to keep throughout the reading, throughout the conversation, but I don't. So, all right, so we're at about 5 minutes, and I'll go ahead and start this like as if it was a video and talk about the subject. And if people come in, you guys are welcome to join me I am going to add some videos down in the description uh, to help people out with this topic, and as resources later to visit. Hopefully you'll get some help from it. So I was on, I went over to Words Have Powers live last night and was on her panel. I just popped up on her panel, and she was discussing a few things about kind of what's going on online and just in the world, online mostly, but in the world in general. And it got me thinking just even outside of online, but just globally. As a highly sensitive person, I often feel really overwhelmed with what is going on in the world if I pay too much attention to global affairs or and even with what's going on online here, like it can feel overwhelming. And to be really honest, it's not just drama channels or true crime anymore. It crosses all genres. There's a lot of toxicity. And so how do we keep our hearts soft? How do we keep our hearts tender? How do we take care of ourselves during a time when it seems like people and the world is kind of against that? How do we not lose our compassion? How do we not lose the ability to hold openness and be non-judgmental during these times, and hold space for people and hold loving kindness? So I wanted to just address that a little bit. And of course, I feel like a broken record when I talk about that, because I do talk about things like meditation practice is really important. If you can only commit 5 minutes a day to taking care of yourself by meditating and breathing out the negative and breathing in white light and connecting with your higher power, I can't recommend that enough. I just can't. And whatever your higher power is to you, however you view God, source, do that. Connect. I personally, it's not confirmed. I'm not a mental health professional. I did work in the field, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I am someone who recovered from a nervous breakdown and have recovered from a great deal of trauma in my life, and I couldn't have done it without spirituality. So I firmly, from personal experience, believe that the two go hand in hand. You cannot recover or deal with your mental health and not deal with your spiritual health. I think that they need to go hand in hand. But there also are people who are atheists who seem to do okay. But I think you need to believe in something or be committed to something greater. I know some really great atheists who are kind people. So that being said, I don't have a judgment on that either. But in that, I think maybe they believe in their atheism and they believe in kindness, and that's still a belief in something, right? So Buddhists are atheists, and so they believe in compassion and kindness and doing the right thing, and a practice of loving kindness. So on that note, I want to talk a little bit about that practice in itself of loving kindness, um, and the misconceptions around Buddhism. I myself I don't identify as a Buddhist, but I religiously a Buddhist. I do have incorporated in my life a lot of Buddhist principles because you can be a Hindu Buddhist, you can be a Jewish Buddhist, you can be a Christian Buddhist. Buddhism is a philosophy. It's not really a religion per se. I've said it before, I'm not sure whether on this channel or on my old channel, but there's a book by Pema Chöndren called When Things Fall Apart that actually saved my life. Literally, it was like my Bible. I kept it on my nightstand for years. Had I not been able to really do a deep dive in that book and get a deep understanding of how a lot of that related to my trauma and the things and ways that I needed to care for myself emotionally and spiritually, I probably would not have made the choices I made to continue on in the way that I needed to continue on in my healing. And so I really credit that book. And then there's also another book she wrote that I find equally as important called The Places That Scare You. And I cannot recommend either of those books enough. If you can't sit and read like I no longer can, they're both available in audiobook format. Please look them up and avail yourself of the opportunity to, if you're interested, learn about some of the practices. And one of them is just a simple meditation on loving kindness. And I'm going to link a couple of their quick 10-minute videos down below that are morning videos, morning meditations on loving kindness. And what they are is just you repeat simple things like, it starts with you. You focus on loving kindness towards yourself. You know, may I be at peace. May I be healthy. May I be well. And then you focus on people that are problematic in your life. May they be at peace. May they be healthy. May they be well. And then you push it out into the entire world. May the world be at peace. May the world be healthy. May the world be well. You know, and different people do different variations on that. Some different kinds of Buddhists also call that the practice of Tonglen. It's very healing practice to do. And it also helps keep our hearts soft and gentle and non-judgmental. It also helps with the concept of forgiveness, because when we grow up with a great deal of trauma, we also grow up with a great deal of anger. And I can only speak from my own perspective. I can't speak for anybody else, but I grew up with a lot of anger because of my trauma. And the concept of forgiveness eluded me for a long time. Like, I just thought, I don't understand, how am I supposed to forgive these people? Like, what does that even mean? Like, am I supposed to just forget that this happened to me? Like, I'm supposed to just let them off the hook? I didn't get it. And what I finally came to understand is that forgiveness isn't even about them. It was about not letting that eat me up inside, not letting that poison my spirit, my soul, my beingness. Because those people that continually hurt me weren't even thinking about me. I didn't matter to them. And every time I thought about them or held anger or resentment or any of that, I was giving my power over to them and poisoning myself and doing damage to myself. So I was hardening my heart, doing damage to myself, and it was having zero effect on them. And so that's part of the softening and keeping my heart tender, was learning to forgive and not hold grudges, not be angry, not be on the counterattack all the time, because it doesn't matter. Those people really aren't worried about me. And even in the midst of the drama, if there's a drama currently going on, the only thing they're worried about is the drama. If you can hear that, like, that's the only thing they're really concerned about is the drama. So not feeding into that, because that is a control mechanism. It's about toxicity. It's about manipulation. And so your primary concern needs to be about holding your integrity and protecting your well-being and trusting your instincts too, which, a lot of us talk ourselves out of doing, trusting our own gut instincts. We say to ourselves, hi, I see somebody else here. Hi. We say to ourselves all the time, oh, well, just because I feel this way about so-and-so doesn't mean that they're really that bad, or that my instinct is correct, or they're basically a good person. Like, we can see, like, sometimes I've been guilty of seeing someone's potential and saying, well, at their heart, they're a good person. But what I've come to learn is that just because maybe at their heart they're a good person, if their behavior is consistently not okay, then that is someone I don't want to be around, because I don't want to be around someone whose behavior is consistently not okay. I can't align with that. And so I get to choose that I don't want to be around that. Now, that doesn't make me judgmental. It just means that I'm protecting myself by setting a boundary. It doesn't mean I wish them ill. It doesn't mean that I got to broadcast to the world that this is a horrible individual, because I'm not saying they're a horrible individual. I'm saying I don't personally align with being with that person. And guess what? We get to choose who we align with and who we don't. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. At some point, we got it twisted and thought that everybody has to be alike, or everybody has to like everybody and has to get along. Like, everybody has to get a trophy. Everybody has to win. Everybody has to do something. And that isn't based in any kind of realistic anything. What we do need to do is have compassion for everybody, have some basis of understanding and non-judgment around like saying, oh, well, this is a completely horrible person. We can judge the behavior, yes, but to judge a human being, who they are as a person, if you don't really know that person, you can't judge them. And the caveat I have, and I do want to make a caveat about that, is that if someone is harming innocents, children, animals, if they're committing murder, if they are abusing their spouses, whether they are females abusing male spouses, males abusing female spouses, if they are abusers of any kind, um, of course you need to report that. Like, yes, if you see something, say something. But I do also want to say that you don't need to create drama around that. So report it to the authorities. Part of the problem I find is that we tend to have become a society that is so judgmental that we feed on putting people on blast and feel like we are justified in causing harm to each other when we make a judgment about someone. And that is when our hearts have become harder. What a more tender-hearted person does is see the humanity in another person and would never want to cause harm to another person. So it doesn't matter what we think about that person, what we think we know. We still see the humanity, and we let the proper authorities deal with whatever needs to be dealt with. So if we know that they've caused harm, we report that. Not that we suspect it, but that we know that they have. We have to have witnessed it. Or be the victim of it. And we do protect the victims. And then the other thing I want to say is, just remember that we are dealing with real life people here in this world of the internet. And that what seems really big here isn't. My thoughts, my prayers, my heart goes out to all the people in Kentucky that have lost their homes, that have lost family members, across all the states that have been impacted by the tornadoes. Before Donna and I came to Mexico, we were in southwest Missouri, very close to Joplin, and are very aware of what that kind of devastation does to a community and to communities. We're from Tornado Alley. And so I feel very, very deeply for those families and those people. I just want to put some perspective on all of this about being tender-hearted and remembering that all these things that we think are really big, that there are thousands of missing children, that there are children still in cages, that we have people dying of a pandemic, that we still have wars raging, that we have young men from our country still dying in those wars, that we have storms that are wiping out cities and towns, that we just recently had New Orleans get hit so hard and people had to leave their homes that are uninhabitable and find new places to live, that we have people who still are unable to work because of this pandemic or find appropriate child care. There are people who cannot make enough money to make their bills and pay for child care and medical care. There are hospitals that are so full of COVID patients that they're turning emergencies away. Let's please try and keep things in perspective. If someone said something that offended you, please try and address it personally with them. It's just a word. It's just an offense. If you feel slighted, please do it in private. It doesn't have to become public knowledge. There are greater issues in the world. If we want to really focus on helping missing children, please let's focus on helping the missing children. If we want to focus on helping communities in need, please let's do that. If we want to focus on the issues that are at hand, let's do that. But I don't think we can truly do any of that until we really work on making sure that we have maintained our compassion and our empathy. And that requires being able to see each other as human beings and see everyone that we look at as a fellow human being. Because the moment that we dehumanize one another is the moment that we lose our compassion. And so my plea, and it's not even a plea, it's just a request that we all do the soul searching and ask ourselves before we type into our keyboards, before we put people on blast, before we create these videos about each other, before we take these extreme actions, is we ask ourselves, is it helpful? Is this going to make a difference, a real difference? Is this going to change anything? Because if it's not, please rethink what you're about to do. I see a lot of people suffering. Let's offer our energy to helping those who suffer. And if that's not what your thing is, then focus on your own life. Live your life. Because we only get one shot here. Work on you. Work on your life. Be the best wife, mother, partner, human you can be. Because that's what we got. One shot. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with being that. If that's what you've got to do, that's what you've got to do. I see people that I think are amazing people who are letting their health go, worrying about situations that they have zero control over. And it concerns me. It concerns me because they're being consumed by the drama of something. And I want to see better for all of you. So my love, my light, my prayers are for all of you to keep your heart soft, to forgive one another, to love one another, to see each other as fellow human beings and be the best versions of yourselves every single day. And remember that it is not our job to judge. It's not. Our job is to be helpers. Our job is to hold each other up. Our job is to lift each other up. Our job is to be on this earth and do the best job we can of being who we are. So, that's what I have to offer today. I'm going to drop some links in the description for mindfulness meditation. I will drop some links for a couple things about. I want to drop a link that to Wordz Have Powers lives that she's done on the toxicity. I think they're important to watch. And because I really want to give kudos to her for what she's done. And I just want to say, I love all of you. Remember, God doesn't make junk. Any of us who are acting out, it's because of our trauma. Please try and remember that. We weren't born bad. We weren't. And let's try and have compassion for one another and try and spread kindness every day. I love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful Monday.